My philosophy of classroom discipline. When we hear the word discipline, many of us think of punishment, but discipline is distinctly different from punishment. Discipline is about teaching and guiding children to make good choices and behave in helpful, socially appropriate ways. Punishment is more focused on retribution for wrongdoings. Punishment and retribution don't help children learn to make better choices or become more responsible. My approach to discipline is a restorative approach that's aligned with my goals as a teacher. The goal of classroom discipline is to foster a positive, effective, and safe learning environment where children can academically grow and socially grow. The aim of classroom discipline should be helping students develop their own personal sense of responsibility and an internal motivation to do what is right. A restorative approach to classroom discipline is focused on relationship and community building within the classroom, and the teacher and students can work together to solve problems and make things right when behavior problems arise. The teacher's responsibilities are to create a positive, inclusive, engaging, and safe learning environment. The teacher should work to foster positive, healthy relationships with and among her students. The teacher should guide and support students in making good choices and help them find ways to solve problems and make amends when needed. The teacher should teach and model effective social skills and tools for managing emotions. Students are responsible for behaving in ways that keep themselves and others in the classroom safe. They're responsible for giving their best effort in their schoolwork. And they're responsible for making things right when they've engaged in behavior that negatively impacts the classroom community. All members of the classroom community should work to treat each other with kindness and respect. My theory of classroom discipline grows out of a collection of best practices from several classroom management theorists. The core element of my theory is the importance of relationship building within the classroom. Nelson and Lott recommend establishing a supportive classroom climate of acceptance, encouragement, and respect. I want all of my students to feel safe, loved, and accepted. Creating this type of classroom climate takes time and a commitment to investing in relationships with your students. I believe that engaging in Glasser's 7 connecting habits each day is an excellent way to build strong, trusting relationships with students. His 7 connecting habits are caring, listening, supporting, respecting, encouraging, trusting, and negotiating differences. These are very effective tools for establishing positive, healthy relationships with students. The second step to creating a well-managed classroom is the implementation of clear procedures for all aspects of daily classroom life. Establishing, teaching, and practicing procedures for how things will be done in the classroom is essential to a functioning classroom management plan. Harry and Rosemary Wong teach us that detailed classroom procedures should be in place from the very first days and weeks of school. This approach supports student learning, saves instructional time, and supports order and calm in the classroom. Many theorists, including Glasser, Marshall, and Kagan, recommend establishing class meetings to involve students in creating the class climate, problem solving, and discussions about behavior. Students can also be involved in establishing class rules and guidelines through the creation of a social contract. Children develop a sense of ownership and pride in their classroom when they're given a voice in defining the classroom community guidelines. Rudolf Dreikurs believes this fosters belonging, self-discipline, and good decision-making. The next key element of my discipline theory is preventing and redirecting misbehavior through the use of positive influence techniques. Wattenberg explains that simple techniques such as making eye contact or moving within close proximity to a child can curb many behavior issues before they escalate. Positive feedback is also an excellent strategy for preventing misbehavior. Lastly, I believe that when behavior problems do arise, the teacher should take the position of a problem-solving coach rather than an authoritarian doling out punishment. Restorative discipline supports students in finding ways to correct their misbehavior and make better choices going forward. My professional and ethical demeanor. Conducting ourselves in a professional and ethical way is incredibly important as teachers. Displaying a warm and professional demeanor when interacting with colleagues, families, and students is critical to building trusting relationships with them. In an effort to do this, I will work to always treat others with love, value, and respect. I will cultivate and express a passion for teaching and caring for my students. I will work to establish a culturally relevant classroom that celebrates diversity and promotes equity. I will protect the dignity of all my students and colleagues and ensure that my students are treated fairly. I will work to make problem solving a priority in my classroom rather than focusing on punishment. My goal as an educator will be to always do what is in the best interest of each child in my care. Promoting the rules to support student behavior. A good classroom management plan should include principles, rules, and procedures. Principles are the overarching guidelines for the creation of a classroom climate, such as caring for others. Rules are specific, clear, and actionable ways that principles are carried out, and procedures dictate the day-to-day details of how the class functions. Rules should be stated in the positive and focus on what you want students to do. They should be explicitly taught to students, including discussion of what following each rule looks like. Students may need clarification about what it means to treat someone with respect and what that looks like in the classroom. Being very clear about rules and expectations sets students up for success. They should have the opportunity to practice them, and they should be reviewed regularly. My 5 classroom rules are: follow directions, raise your hand, keep hands, feet, and objects to yourself, treat others with kindness and respect, and do your best work. Proactively preventing or reducing inappropriate behavior. There is so much that we can do as teachers to set our students up for success and prevent behavior problems before they occur. There are also great strategies we can employ to redirect and de-escalate behavior issues when they arise. Relationship building is key to preventing behavior problems in the classroom. When students feel loved and safe, they're less likely to misbehave. When they know that you care about them and are invested in their success, they want to work to succeed. Implementing clear classroom procedures also helps to prevent behavior problems. Students know what the classroom expectations are, and they're supported by the structure that procedures provide. Transitions go much smoother throughout the day with detailed procedures in place, and there's less time and opportunity for behavior issues to arise. Reteaching and reviewing class rules and expectations is another highly effective way to curb behavior problems. The positive influence techniques I mentioned earlier, such as eye contact and positive feedback, are powerful techniques for promoting good choices. Lastly, allowing students to have ownership in the classroom through class meetings or social contracts helps them develop self-discipline and an internal motivation to behave. Supporting students' efforts to participate and persevere. The most important thing teachers can do to support students' efforts to participate and persevere is to provide high-quality, engaging instruction. When students are excited and involved in the learning process, they rarely misbehave. Lessons should be engaging, interactive, and tap into students' interests. Culturally relevant pedagogy is critical to providing high-quality instruction. Lessons should be tied to real-world experiences and tap into students' background knowledge. I will endeavor to hold high expectations for all of my students and provide differentiated instruction to meet each of their individual learning needs. I will display visual cues about student expectations throughout the classroom and offer positive feedback. In order to help my students persevere, I will promote a growth mindset within the classroom. Redirecting students when misbehavior occurs. In spite of our best laid plans and efforts, misbehavior will still occur in the classroom from time to time. It is important to be prepared and have a plan for how you will address behavior issues when they occur. My first line of defense will be to make use of my positive influence techniques to redirect misbehavior. I will also rely on positive feedback, such as pointing out and praising my students who are displaying the correct behavior when another student displays inappropriate behavior. I will support social emotional learning in my classroom by providing my students with a calm down corner and teaching them effective ways to regulate their emotions and stop and think before reacting. If a student is having a difficult time managing their emotions or being disruptive, they can take some time to regroup and refocus in the calm down corner. I will also employ restorative discipline when my students misbehave. I will coach them through the process of determining what classroom rule they have broken and how they can make amends if necessary. We will keep our focus on moving forward and how to make better choices in the future. Communicating my discipline plans to administrators, students, and families. I will provide a written summary of my discipline plan to my school administrators for their review and feedback. And I will create a narrated PowerPoint presentation, much like this one, outlining my discipline plan for families to view on our class website. The first 2 weeks of school will be focused on teaching students all about our classroom management plan. We will learn, practice, and review the rules and procedures until students have mastered them. I will also provide visual cues throughout the classroom and verbal reminders as needed. Energizing my classroom. Keeping instruction lively and engaging is an essential part of a good classroom management plan. I will continually pursue professional development opportunities that will expose me to new and creative ways to keep my instruction interesting and exciting. I will utilize strategies such as student-led inquiry to keep my students actively involved in the learning process and tap into their unique strengths and interests. I will integrate the arts into my curriculum as much as possible and use multimodal methods for my literacy instruction. I will also implement partner and group work to get students interacting with each other as well as the curriculum. I plan to get them outside, get them moving, and offer hands-on learning activities as well as opportunities for brain breaks. My hope is that my classroom will be a fun, engaging place where students are excited to come and learn new things each day.